What's going on, family? It's your guy Boro, the Lucky Libra. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. All right, as y'all can see by the title, we're picking up the signs through the houses series with Gemini in the 6th house. All right, now before we get into it, make sure to like, share, subscribe so we could circulate these gems. All right, make sure to tap into my website if you'd like to connect with the Lucky Libra, and tap into my Patreon if you'd like to dive deeper. Let's get right into it. All right, now Gemini in the 6th house. Okay, so what is the 6th house? The 6th house is an earth house. Earth houses have huge influences on career, how we gain stability and security in this lifetime. The 6th house specifically is dealing with influences of how we go about scheduling things, routining things in our life, what we are influenced to work on in our life. You know, the 6th house has influences of wellness. All right, aka how we do with our diet, our regimen. Right, this house rules the nervous system. And, you know, we got influences of the workplace. All right, the workplace. Okay, so a lot of the things that you may experience in the workplace, in your work environments, or when it comes to the things that you're trying to build and work on in your life, we can see a lot of these things, influences of these things in the 6th house. All right, so Gemini in the 6th house. Gemini in the 6th house. All right, now this is a square. Yeah, this is a square. You know, this house, Gemini is naturally, you know, birthed out the 3rd house. All right. So when you get into the 6th house, you know, we're dealing with a square here. And, when we look at, first, you need to know where Mercury's at. You need to know where Mercury is at. Mercury is the ruler of your 6th house. Now, the thing is, Mercury loves this house. This is Mercury's home. And we could look at it as Mercury's exalted area in the chart, the 6th house, right? So it loves to be in the area where it gets to use its mind to dissect the details of how to schedule, routine things, organize things, how to put things together in life, how to take things out their schedule and routine, right? Mercury loves that here. Or being able to use their mind and their mental abilities, you know, within the workplace or within the things that they're trying to build in their life. However, it's Gemini, it's a square here. So Virgo's home here, really, you know, so Virgo's the feminine side of Gemini. I mean, the feminine side of Mercury. So Virgo learns to understand and receive how to structure and routine things here, knows how to learn from how other people are doing things. Other energies are, you know, building, structuring things in the external realm to, you know, kind of fuse along with its ways of building and structuring things. It's patient, it's stable, it's practical. Now, Gemini can be unstable. It's air. It's hard to contain air. It's hard to trap air. So, yeah, we have Mercury influences here, a.k.a. this person will stimulate. This is my what? What rising is this? This is my, not Cap risings. Yeah, it's my Capricorn rising. Gemini in the 6th house. Then we got Cancer in the 7th house. Yep, Gemini rising. I mean, Capricorn rises. All right. You may be an Aquarius rising. You may be a Sag rising, depending on how your chart is, right? But like I'm a Capricorn rising, but Gemini falls into my 5th house. So, you know, I use a Placidus system. And when we look at Gemini here, it has the Mercury influence. So it's going to develop a lot of ideas here. It's still going to have the ability to, you know, be detail oriented when it gets into how it structures routine things. If you work with these individuals, you're going to see that they have that mental capacity when it comes to, you know, projects, building things, taking on tasks in the workplace. Durable too, because Gemini's actually one of the more durable signs in the zodiac. A lot of energy. You never really see a Gemini, just think about it, y'all. I never just see a Gemini like tired, like a Gemini. Geminis be going. They be going. All right. And when you put that energy into the 6th house, you're gonna still have them strong Mercury influences here. It's just that it's coming out in the air archetype, in a mutable air archetype now. So they're gonna manifest opportunities to do a whole bunch of networking here. A lot of people can help get you from point A to B in the 6th house. You may have to learn. You're also going to have to learn how to work with people here. Let me say that. Gemini in the 6th house, Capricorn rises, you're going to have to learn how to work with people. It ain't no way to get around it. You got air in the sixth house. You know, you got to learn how to be mutable. You have to learn how to be flexible and adaptable towards different faces and places within the workplace. And when it comes to business endeavors in your life and things you're trying to build, brand, stabilize, establish from a business point of view, you're going to attract that when it comes to Gemini and the sixth house. You're going to attract having to deal with different ideals, you know, different perspectives, and finding the medium through all these different relationships or minds that you might have to deal with in your sixth house when you're building things, right? Also, Gemini has a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas, thinks a lot. So you have to get stable with a thought, with an idea in the sixth house. That's where some of the trouble may come from with this being a square-like alignment. You know, it brings the strengths of Mercury influences here. But because Gemini stimulates so many different ideas and perspectives about things, it got that dual, you know, archetype to itself. When it gets into the sixth house, it may have too many different perspectives of how it could go and schedule and build something to the point that that's actually, you know, making this individual more stagnant towards putting a certain routine or schedule or one of these beautiful ideas that you're going to stimulate here into motion. And then you got to kind of learn how to not change shit a lot when you're working things here in the sixth house. All right, Cap Risings got to learn to see things develop, see things structure in your sixth house. Once again, you have Mercury here. So if something needs to be tweaked, something needs to be fixed, there's a detail that, you know, you need to pick up on when it comes to something you're scheduling, working on, or dealing with the workplace. And when it comes to your wellness, you know, your state of being, your you know, your diet, how you're taking care of yourself, your sleep. It's a big thing for Capricorn rising, sleep and shit. Niggas don't be wanting to sleep and want to work all the time. Take the night shift, all that. Take the overnight shift. All right. I know how y'all be getting down cap placement. So you have to make sure when it comes to being able to see the details to any of the things you need to see in the sixth house, you're going to pick up on that here. All right. You're going to pick up on that when you're working on something, building on something. You know, you're going to know when you need to change something. So that's why you got to make sure you're not always changing things, because that thing that you're going to need to see the detail on, Gemini is going to pick up on it here. Gemini is one of the most intelligent, curious signs in the zodiac. Mercury influence. Mercury's curious. So it makes Gemini and Virgos very curious. It makes them want to seek knowledge. It makes them want to seek more information, right? Now, you have to be wise with who you deal with in the sixth house, Gemini in the sixth house. Can't just be doing business with anybody. You can't just rely on anybody for something you need to structure, work, and build on. It's gonna come with some of that, some of those experiences. Learning to have discernment with who you allow yourself to network, you know, collaborate with in the sixth house. May get talked a lot about at the workplace. They may gossip a lot about you in the workplace. Your name may always be in the middle of things in the workplace, Capricorn rising with Gemini in the sixth house. So you got to be careful of how you go about handling your business and doing what you do. The Gemini can develop discussion, conversation where it's at. In the sixth house, you know, this is great because it brings publicity. It brings, hey man, shout out to my Leos. All publicity is good publicity, all right? So if you're dealing with something and you're building a brand, business, or structure, you can develop a lot of conversation around what you're structuring. People will have a strong critique for what you're structuring too, your business and brand. But hey, that's great. Use that energy. Understand how to tap into your spirituality and transmute energy that's sent to you. Any energy sent your way, positive or negative, can always be manipulated to your favor. So these are things you gotta understand with Gemini in the sixth house. You know, little tricks how to use, you know, other people's perceptions and ideas about what you got going on. Now, how to use that to fuel what you got going on, right? So that's one thing you want to look out for. But yeah, try not to be messy in the workplace. Try not to be messy in the workplace. Remember, air, wherever air is in our chart, these are, but besides the air houses, the third house, 7th, 11th house, besides those houses, the parts of your chart where there's air at overall are going to be more of the socially communicative, you know, influenced parts of your chart. So Gemini in the sixth house could be a lot of discussion, a lot of relationships, a lot of networking, meeting a lot of people through the sixth house, a lot of fruitful relationships you may develop from places that you work at or people that you choose to work on things with, all right? You know, business is going to show you in this lifetime a whole lot about the differences of individuals and how people think. And yes, Gemini is all over the place. It's Mercury influence. So when it gets into the sixth house, your mind will gravitate towards thinking about how to take care of yourself is one thing. It's more so about and applying yourself when it comes to these ideas and these details you pick up about your regimen and your diet. Once again, Gemini is very durable from what I pick up on, from what I see. So when I see that energy in the 6th house, it's always some energy to tap into, or at least some mental power to tap into or positive ways to think about dealing with the area where Gemini is at. So when it's in that 6th house, you need to have your mental affirmations on deck. When it comes to, you need more pep in your step for things you need to handle in the 6th house. But a lot of the times, Gemini gonna be able to get it done here. You're gonna be able to get it done and be able to develop whatever idea solution it needs to get things done here. You just have to make sure with that influence of Mercury that you're not so overwhelmed in the 6th house about how to do it, what to do it. You need to be action oriented here, because that's just only gonna overstimulate the nervous system in this house, and now your mind is going crazy. Now the things that you got in the 6th house, you always feeling unstable in the 6th house. You're always feeling like things is scattered in the 6th house. Wherever Gemini's at, we have a little bit of influence to be a little scattered and reckless there. So you start being a little scattered in the 6th house, you start going crazy, nervous system upside down. So that's why you need to make sure you acknowledge the things Gemini and Mercury picks up in your 6th house. All right, you got to be able to pinpoint that advantage there, having Mercury as the ruler. You need to know what house Mercury is in. If I ain't say that, whatever house Mercury is in, that's going to be an area you're going to be influenced to work on structure and craft as well. Mercury's going to be bringing energies from that house into your 6th house, right? And you're always going to be able to find answers and solutions for your 6th house in that house that Mercury's in. But yeah, that's what we got going on for the most part with Gemini in the 6th house. You already know the vibes, family. Make sure to tap into my website if you'd like to connect with the lucky Libra. Tap into my Patreon if you'd like to dive deeper. Like, share, and subscribe. If I didn't just say that, oh well, it doesn't hurt to say it twice, all right? And next time, we're going to be picking it up with Cancer in the 6th house. This is my placement. Y'all already know the vibes. Shout out to y'all Aquarius risings and all that. But until next time, family, peace.